Some lights.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It's Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is World of Legit Fantasy Wrestling, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. Also broadcasting live on legitpodcast.com/airtime pro. Something like that. Joining me as always. Wait. Ooh, I don't want to rob you of the date. It is March 2nd, 2022, which is 03022022. Math geeks must like that one. That's a good one, I think, because, there's a bunch of twos there. That's how that goes. Here we go, Joey Paranormal. What's going on, Joe?
Not much. Yourself?
I'm about to start drinking.
Nice.
Yep.
Never too late, never too early.
No. Late start for me, but,
I was gonna have a coffee, but I've had way too much caffeine today, so I'm just sticking up with the healthy, nice water. LTTstore.com, Linus Tech Tips water bottles. Go there, get a nice water bottle.
Hey, have you tried the Rock's new energy drink?
Oh God, no. I probably won't.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's like it's got like a Hawaiian name, like Moab. Is it Maivia? Goddamn, was it? I don't remember, but anyways, I had it. And I don't like the original flavor, but there's like a lemon lime one was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
Zoa Energy.
Yeah. The Rock's got a new thing. It was at Rite Aid.
Of course it was.
Yep, and of course I was there. Which one's worse? Which one's worse? Honestly.
I mean, that's where I get my scripts at, so I'm always at Walgreens.
Dude, I get everything. I call it Rite Aid. Dude, it was Douglas Drugged in my house. Then it was Brooks. Then it was Rite Aid.
God, Brooks.
And now it's Walgreens. Like I can't keep up.
Yeah. I don't think they can keep up.
Listen to me for a second. In North Providence. So have you ever been to Kangaroo's CDs and tapes? It's like
no.
this little. It's like a little. All right. So you know where the library is?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you across the street from the library is like there's the barber shop, and then there's like apartments, and then there's like this weird strip mall that's like just on Mineral Spring on the left, out of the other side of the library, right?
Yeah.
So now, Joe, in that plaza, there's always been like a dance studio or something upstairs, right? There's this woman, her whole family, they've run this little place called Kangaroo CDs and Tapes. They've sold everything and they've hung in there from literally selling tapes, CDs, box set type stuff, weird things. And then they were doing like special orders, and now vinyl. It's like coming around for them, and I'm very happy for them. But like they've always been this one spot, right? To the other side of them, the main spot has always been a bar. In my lifetime, I'm telling you, that bar has probably had about 15, 16 names. It's unbelievable. It's like new bar this week, new bar gone. The new bar that just came in, something Hollywood. I was saying to my son driving home, I was like, yeah, I think this is a new place, something Hollywood. I looked in, it's completely empty. I'm like, well, and he was laughing because we always talk about that bar. Joe, it's like, here's the thing. Here's what I don't get about people. And this is what it transfers into wrestling. How come, like, you see 3 bars in a row tank at this location, all because of, like, parking and the location of it, right? But you think somehow you can put a bar in there and it'll work. Why do they keep putting bars? Like after the third one, what makes a business owner go, it's not location, the fact that nobody can park, or the fact that actually the town the people, the houses call the police all the time if it's too loud, which is I know is a fact because I'm from the town. So, Joe, if you knew all that, what would make you think I can do it different this time and I'll make it look good? Because it ties into wrestling.
Hell, because everyone wants to own a bar. So that someone sees, maybe they don't know the history of the area. They see an empty spot with maybe some lines run for kegs and for taps, And they're like, man, you know what? I think I can make this work. I got an idea. My idea will work. And a month in, they're like, I don't know how to run a bar. I got to bring the keg up every time, but I don't understand how this works. If they were smarter, they would have had the lines in the basement, but maybe the lines aren't in the basement. There are a lot of things that can kill a bar, but if it's bad location, that's the first one.
It's
And
definitely bad location.
And nobody wants a dance studio above them when they're drinking. After about 3 or 4 beers, nobody wants to hear feet clogging all the time.
But the dance studio should not really be a dance studio when you're drinking. Day drinkers are like, I would not want a bar that at all promoted day drinkers. Like, in other words, again, a Bar Fangul would be a bar that, like, those guys would be like Eddie Mush. He's in the bar. You know what I mean? You know the guy, you ever see Bronx Tale?
No.
Really? Joe, I want to get rid of you right now. I almost dropped you from the stream. How do you live with yourself and you've never seen Bronx Tale?
I have no idea. I have no answer for you. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know that this was a prerequisite.
Have you ever seen Goodfellas?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Casino?
I don't think so. No.
What the? All right. Wait a minute. Donnie Brasco.
No, haven't seen it.
With Johnny Depp and Al Pacino?
Nope.
Joe, what are you watching? What are you doing with the TV? What are you doing with your TV? What's going on? Why would you not watch those movies?
I mean, it's not that I'm choosing not to. I just either don't know they exist or they're not really on. I don't go seek them out to watch them. Casino, I've heard is pretty good, but I've just never gotten around to watching it. But the other ones you mentioned, outside of Goodfellas, I haven't really heard of or heard anyone speak of as much. So I don't go out and search it. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
You've heard no one speak of Bronx Tale?
Not really, no.
With Sonny. Sonny had 5 fingers, but he only used 3. Really? Oh, you're killing me. All right. So let's go to what you consider, and I'm gonna give people a spoiler, a good Raw. You're happy. You came in happy to this. You're feeling good about Raw. All right. So let's start it off.
The bar's not very high.
All right, but let's start it off. It starts off with the Kevin Owens segment?
Yeah, KO show.
Okay. So that segment, it was basically walking on a tightrope moment, in my opinion, for those 4 guys, because they went from wrestling and sports entertainment to comedy. That's the toughest thing to do. We know this. So, first of all, and the thing is, I usually hate Seth Rollins' laugh. It seems so contrived. Like, I feel like that he laughs for real in a different way. It's just weird sometimes, right?
Yeah, but again, it's the point. So
what made it work?
It was the mix of. So all 4 of those guys have. I don't want to say because I doubt that they really improv, but they all have that thing, that ability to cut promos, and that funny bone, that indescribable quality when it comes to filming, writing, or being in a bit that just works. Chad Gable has proven it that he can kind of take the ball and run with this like douchey heel character. Otis fits his role perfectly, where he's just the muscle, where he just mutters a word or two. And obviously, you know what Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins bring to the table. Those 2 are arguably some of the funniest motherfuckers in wrestling right now. I mean, Kevin Owens, what he did with Chris Jericho 4 or 5 years ago, it was some comedic gold. You put all 4 of those in a segment where they're firing on all cylinders, and I haven't actually genuinely laughed during a WWE segment probably since Jericho and the List of Jericho. It was, I mean, you get Chad Gable coming out doing his, thank you, whatever that is, or why it's stuck or how it's coming around. And you got Seth and Kevin, and instead of just kind of going along with whatever maybe was planned, they actually look and they're like, why does he say it like that? Why is it weird? Them to acknowledge it was funny, and then to get on him about it, and he sits there, what are you talking about? I don't say anything weird. I just see a couple of assholes who got, and then you got Otis in the background just going, ass. It was just, all of it worked so well. And then the shushing battle at the end, and the stunner that KO gave to Gable was actually like a good, like stone cold stunner. Like it looked good on TV. I thought that whole segment, yeah, I thought that Gable's phenomenal. I hope he gets a bigger push. He's getting a good push now, but I hope he gets a bigger push this year. But that segment was gold. I love that segment.
Don't you feel like they're making Gable and Otis as wrestlers prove themselves? Like they knocked them down out of their teams, their prior teams. You know what I mean? They had them in no man's land for a little while. They didn't know what to do with them, honestly. So they put them together, and they're just making them work their way. You know what I mean? To segments like this.
Well, I mean, they're wearing championship. I can't say gold because it's not gold, but they're wearing tag team championship titles, and they've held them, and they've won matches. They've looked good winning matches. They've played the heel character in winning heelishly. They're doing everything that's being asked of them, and every segment that they've been in, whether it be with Riddle and Randy Orton, is really good. It's just this one. I love Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins dynamic, and both of them together in like a sit down promo with Alpha Academy with Otis and Gable was just fan. It was so good to watch. And the best is Seth going, hey, listen, you guys are complaining because we're in the match and you're not going to make it to WrestleMania. Well, even if we win and get the belts, you guys can just wrestle us at WrestleMania and you're going to be there anyway. And like the rationale and the way he's trying to bring it around, it was just, everything was just so good about it.
All right. We liked it. Moving on. Next match. Omos defeats T-Bar. Now,
I prefer we refer to T-Bar as Dominic Dijakovic. T-Bar is just ridiculous.
Tell me why you like this match.
All right. I didn't like this match. This match existed. The thing is if you're gonna continue building Omos, this is just how you have to do it. I mean, he didn't squash a jobber. Although T-Bar is kind of, Dominic Dijakovic is kind of in that, kind of getting relegated to that, but he's not a jobber in the sense.
Who else is left that's lower than T-Bar?
Well, I'm saying jobber
on the jobber status.
I'm saying jobber isn't someone that they just find locally who they just pay money to come out.
No, but he's the bottom. That's the bot. Like, you know what? Here's what I think. You want my opinion on this one? I think these two.
Do I have a choice?
No, not really. These two are gonna have been working on like that match, like just those things. I think like in private. Like I think that's how they're trying to bring this guy Omos along. I think he's that bad. Like I think like they were working him and T-Bar because T-Bar probably has plenty of spare time. It's not like he's ever doing anything really else. So I bet you he has him work with him and get him up and ready. You know what I mean? So that's why he did. But because it seemed like a bunch of those things were so pre-planned, and Omos seemed like I don't know.
He knew it was Corey. Like it was very clearly choreographed.
Very.
The thing is though, is you have to. They're building him to be a monster, and to do that, you can't be taking on these small local guys. So you get fed the bottom of the roster guys, but you beat them so decisively that it's like, wow, who can't he be? And then eventually he'll move up to the, I can't say the Cesaros of the world because we didn't even mention Cesaro's not in the WWE anymore, but those type of guys, he'll move up there eventually. And, maybe by the summer he'll be in the a title picture. I don't know which one because there is no main roster title on Raw right now, but we'll get to that later. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I had no issues with this match. Besides the fact that T-Bar's name is T-Bar.
I know they built him to be a monster. I get it. I didn't like how just it looked stiff. Didn't like it. All right. Then there was like a 6-team. See, this
is yeah.
It's an amalgamation.
Amalgamation.
An amalgamation of just girls that happen to be backstage, maybe. You know what I mean? Like just you tell me what. Just tell me why they put this together. Like, how does this work?
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a 6 team. Tell me why nobody has any reason to be with each other, because there's nothing. There's no reason for
this. This was just a typical, like, we have a couple feuds. We're gonna marry them together. It's weird that all of a sudden now Becky and Doudrop are teaming together. Nikki. So the only part about any of this that actually I thought was funny was because they did the 2 promos with both teams, which was stupid. Because why would, if we're being honest, why would Becky and the Drop just be in the back, just chilling next to each other, waiting for the camera to it does not feel real. So
isn't Becky above everybody else?
Yeah. So why would she be back there with them? That's the thing. She would
Doudrop and Nikki.
ASH. Yeah.
No, needs a new gimmick.
But the heels after their promo, Nikki tries to go for high five, and they all just kind of like, no, get out of here, and they leave. And I thought that was funny, like Nikki, like the loser, kind of getting left out. But other than the stale promos before this, I think the best part was Belair hitting Lynch so hard with her hair that like it left massive welts. I didn't know hair could do that. It apparently must be braided pretty tight. I'm curious if WWE pumped in some whipping noise to the TV program though, because it was kind of loud.
I want to know if that's her real hair, all of it, because the wife doesn't think it is. She thinks that's a good weave. There's a good majority of weave in that, but I can't tell.
I don't know enough about hair.
She can't have hair that long, right? Like that all the time, right?
I don't know. I actually, come to think of it, I don't really see many pictures of her outside of like,
wouldn't it dread up
or anything? I mean, if it's being washed and combed out, no.
All the time, dude. To have long hair like that, that's like a day, dude. That's a day job.
I mean, it is one giant dread, so maybe she just keeps it that way. I don't know.
I think it's whatever.
That's possible.
I was at a bar once where I saw a girl act like she was tripping, right? So she could grab the weave off the back of another girl's head. She acted like she was tripping. She grabbed it, completely pulled it off. It was one of the most gangster moments in my life. I saw these 2 girls stare each other down. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like stumble, rip. And then like, it's gonna go down. Yeah, and it did. That was a good match. That was actually a better match than one we just talked about. All right, so Joe, I didn't care about the 6-woman tag match. I didn't care. Sorry, it really didn't. And actually, it made me think less of the division again because of what we just said. It did. It knocked the division down a little bit to me because it made them more comical. It reminded me of the 80s with Hulk Hogan, where bad guys just kind of grouped up and the good guys grouped up. Let's go do this.
Yeah. And the fact that they're not giving, like, there's only a couple female superstars that get an opportunity to let loose with their promos, and everybody else is so scripted and stuck to this cookie cutter format that we get these like 3-person interviews because they're the team and they talk about the other team and how we don't like them because they're the other team and they're our rivals and this is we're gonna go out and beat them and they go out and it's so bland. There's no personality, and the fact that Becky was a part of that, I think was like Becky and Bianca shouldn't be. Oh, maybe Bianca because she's the face, so she would be associating with everybody else. But it doesn't seem.
They did not need to be in those matches. Those 2.
No.
You could have put 2 more people, but I don't think you had 2 more people you trusted to go in the match. How about that?
Probably not. Like, where's Lacey Evans been? I'm waiting for her to make a return too. She was kind of green, but she was entertaining.
No, she had a
child, but it's been a long time. She gave birth like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It takes some women almost a year to get back from it physically.
I follow her on Instagram. She looks like she's ready to go. I actually, fun fact, when I went to basic training, one of my roommates was her cousin. That's how I even knew she existed back then, because before she was on the main roster.
I was gonna say, fun fact. It seems like you stalk the female wrestlers on Instagram.
Well, I follow a lot of wrestlers on Instagram, not just the female stars.
They're not. Yeah, I wonder what the percentage is. Moving on. Let's go on to Tommaso Champa, extending this whole NXT Point 2 feud. Probably the only good thing they've done in a while. Up against Robert Roode with Dolph on the outside.
Dolphy boy.
I think they made Ciampa look strong, but then get beat down. What do you think of it? I think it's at least they're putting Ciampa to work, so I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure when they faced off on NXT, Roode and Ziggler have gotten the upper hand every time. And it's interesting to me that both times Ciampa's been on Raw and wrestled either in the tag match last week or this match, he's won. So it's weird how that kind of seems to be happening, where Ciampa's winning on Raw but losing on NXT. I'm glad to see him getting screen time on the main roster, because obviously after this championship match, that him and Ziggler and Braun Breaker are kind of heading to. I know I saw something that the triple threat doesn't have Braun in it, or doesn't have Ziggler. I don't know. I'm a little fuzzy on that, but I think Ciampa's coming up to the big boy roster with probably after WrestleMania season.
So what do you think is going to be the WrestleMania match?
It could be maybe a handicap match, Ciampa versus the Dirty Dogs, and he takes them both on and wins. Maybe that's a good way to build him up to be kind of a big star. I mean, he takes on two guys.
Why don't you just do Ciampa with us? What's wrong with what's his name? The little guy, his friend. The guy, the other guy, Johnny Gargano.
Oh, he's been out of WWE for a while.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's gone. Him and his wife, they're gone.
All right. So then, if I'm Ciampa, then I'm gonna grab, Braun. In other words, keep him as a mystery, partner.
I still think handicap match, and he just beats them both. That's a really good way to build them up.
Yeah, but man, you're really shitting on the Dirty Dogs. Like,
any more than they have been? I mean, come on,
dude.
now.
Why would they do that on the main stage? You're gonna make one guy that's smaller than both of them beat them on the main stage.
I don't know if I'd say Ciampa's smaller than both of them.
He is.
I mean, WWE doesn't think highly of Roode, and Ziggler is long past the days of him competing for high-end titles. So I could easily see it happening. Roode and Ziggler are enhancement. They're at their level, their age. They are considered enhancement talent.
All right.
Although not everyone who gets considered as enhancement talent gets stuck there, as we'll find out later on in the show.
Listen.
Foreshadowing.
Listen, Roode's so much bigger physically than Ciampa. Did you see him standing next to each other?
He's built better. He's got bigger muscles.
She's bigger. That's my problem with Ciampa. Ciampa's like he's ripped. He's doing the old school Buns of Steel type video game. Like, he's really working it good. Like, he's making sure he's in shape. Hey, Joe, I'm gonna interrupt you. We'll stop here for a second. Oh, we're gonna bring in the new guy, Brendan. He seems to have written Brendan Bams in his nameplate, Joe. But just so we're on the same page, this is the new guy, Brendan.
Okay.
All right. We'll see how this goes. Brendan, welcome to the show. How are you, bud?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
What's up, man?
Nothing much. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're halfway through Raw, trying to figure out.
You made it further than I did.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. We're saying that this is as far as Joe is concerned, we're saying that this is Joe thinks this is a good Raw. He liked the opening segment, as far as comedy wise. To recap, I thought it took a lot of balls to do it because they could have easily not been funny
and executed it flawlessly.
So
what did they open up with?
It was Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. It was a KO show with Alpha
Academy.
I
did see that. Yeah,
and just those four personalities and the way everything kind of gelled together, which is absolutely hilarious.
And they made it work. But then we went to how like you got Omos, who just had a really choreographed stiff match with T-Bar. Yeah, like T-Bar. You know what I mean? Like how low is T-Bar on the pecking order in WWE? Like,
so God, I don't know how much you guys watch independent wrestling at all. But T-Bar used to be Donovan Dijak before he went to.
Yep, Joey talks about it all the time.
I saw him in Warwick like a few times. They do like a cheap Thursday night wrestling. He is unreal athletically.
Yeah.
He just can't. I don't know who we can't impress or anything like that, but it's a damn shame to see what he's becoming because he is not good on their TV shows.
His matches with Keith Lee and NXT were phenomenal. I mean, I think it was Keith Lee's go home match or something, or his last match. I mean, it was such brutal, heavy hitting matches, and for him to get the short end of the straw when he got called up is an absolute shame.
So wait a minute. So all right. So T-Bar is physically an intimidating looking guy. Right?
He's a monster. Yeah.
He's very athletic. All right. Okay. So
he pissed somebody off.
The Hurt Locker right now is struggling with just those two guys, right? They're making them enhancement talent. They're dropping them on the card. Why don't you shave T-Bar's hair to something more presentable? Doesn't have to be Bobby Lashley bald, but like I'm talking like presentable. You can give him like a high top fade, but make it like stop making him dress more like a person and not like whatever T-Bar is supposed to be. That's my problem. The problem with T-Bar is is T-Bar supposed to be? What am I supposed to think he is at home? I'm a guy watching going, that's a T-Bar character. And they go, well, what is he? And I'm like, he's T-Bar.
I don't remember. They took the mask off him though, right?
What?
Yeah,
he's not wearing.
Yeah, they ripped the mask off of him and the other dude.
Mace.
Dio
Madden.
For no reason. And then never really expanded upon it or anything like that. I think they were just trying to get out from under that horrible gimmick that was. And then just never really did a good job of it.
So many careers.
If you're going to do like an invasion angle, you got to have quality, like real star power to pull it off.
You have to know what you're doing with it.
And they didn't know who they were going to put in the lineup by the week. There were different people out there in the ring wearing the hoods and whatnot. Like every week, it just seemed different. It was like they don't know who's in this group.
One of the female wrestlers. I want to. For some reason, Mercedes Martinez's name is the one that comes to mind, but I don't think it was her. But it was somebody who outright went out a couple times when they were in mass and nobody knew who they were, and outright was like, "I'm not doing this. I don't want to be in this faction." So she got pulled out, sent back to NXT, and was gone within a month. And then Maya Yim, obviously, another phenomenal wrestler on the indies, so good on NXT, and then got the stupid Retribution gimmick, and within half a year, she was out too.
So, all right. So, Brendan, let's get to know you on a couple of things.
Yeah.
NXT 2.0.
I have not watched since they relaunched.
I watched the first episode. You're not missing much.
So
yeah,
here's how the set is. It's a ring, all right, and there's an entrance, but then there's like a second floor. That's like where like Waldorf and Statler would be if it was the Muppets, where like people can come stand and like bark down at the wrestlers in the ring, and the wrestlers in the ring can talk back to them up in that like area.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest. Like it almost looks like a Nickelodeon show. If you guys remember, you can't do that on television. You probably don't, but that's what Green Slime started. It reminds me of that.
Is their setup almost like it was when they had the COVID restrictions and they just had the wrestlers out there like that?
Kind of, because they do have like a plexiglass barrier. Yeah, like, it's weird, but it's hard to.
Anyways, the people that they got right now, they're it's first of all, the color gimmick is so awful, right? That as a wrestling fan, it's like I didn't know we wanted like tie-dye. I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like I always thought we like black, silver, red. Give me some those colors. Make it. Don't we as wrestling fans want the show to be tough? And right? Or is it just me, Brendan?
I want my wrestling to be as basic as possible. Like, really. I mean, I watch it. You know what I mean? The storylines can be basic. It's good guy versus bad guy. Bad guy screws over good guy. Stuff like that. I like everything to be pretty much basic, with the exception of some flamboyant characters like we had back in the day, like maybe Goldust or even Velveteen Dream that was recently released. Like guys like that, you can have the exceptions, but I like it just to be broken down pretty simply. Leaves less of the imagination, leaves less for people to bitch about pretty much. And then the people that should stick out do stick out.
Now, see, I like the storylines. I like the the entrances. I like the odd little things about wrestlers. I like their skill set, without a doubt. That's first, but I want to know who they are, what they're there for. Like that's what I want to know. That's it. How many wrestlers really portray that or pull that off? That you're like, I know who he is and I know what he's there for. Like right now, there's not a lot. Some of them are like, I don't know. They're not as easy to describe. Would you guys say that they're easy to describe right now? They're like kind of generic, right?
They're either generic or they're so their gimmicks are so muddled in different little things that they're trying to do, or they've tried to put their toe into different little fountains and different water. It's you're either got someone who has nothing that's relatable, or you have somebody who is like just so off the map, different types of characters in different areas of what they're trying to do that you have no idea what exactly we're trying.
What I'm saying is
supposed to follow
the Street Profits. There's like maybe 4 versions of them within the WWE within the last year or two. They just that tag team has been done so many times. That style of tag team, like they just keep they're
repackaging guys with different
very
names.
much so.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Well, I think you had me thinking about what the guys are that we know and don't know. Like obviously you know what a Rhea Ripley is. Why she dresses like that, or I don't know. By the way, I love you, Rhea Ripley.
Oh my God, that's my. Let me just stop for a second. If Rhea Ripley ever hears this again, I am married, happily married. I'll be 20 years this year. But Rhea, you could always just happen to stop by. Like
I say the same thing. I love Rhea Ripley.
Let me know. She's my favorite. She is my favorite, and they don't use her. All right, go ahead.
So, well, I mean, they do push her a lot, but so I think
not enough.
If you listen to Stone Cold at all, I don't know how much like interviews and stuff you guys watch. Yeah. Austin says this all the time. He's been saying it. He said it to Dean Ambrose's face too, that nobody wants to stick out and nobody wants to take that jump because they're afraid. You know what I mean? They're afraid of WWE's telling me to do this. I have to stick to this script. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know what I mean? Go off script. Take a chance. You're never going to be remembered if you keep doing the same bullshit over and over again.
All right, but here's the difference with that, man. Back in the day, you did that and you took a shot. It either hit or it missed. Nowadays, you take that shot, and if it misses, not only do you feel the effect in the WWE, but somebody in social media somewhere will find an ass ache about how you stepped over too far into their territory. And you will be blown up the next day with so much bullshit that you'll be like, why would I bother? That's my problem. I feel like they won't go too far because they're going to be like, why would I bother? I got to hear it nonstop. I hear everything.
We saw that recently on AEW. There was a character who did a rap. I can't remember who it was, but he rapped. He went a little off script and said something that was like slightly offensive. And I'm pretty sure he's either out of the company or hasn't been on TV in months.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. All right.
Yeah, they took him off TV for a few weeks because of the whole parade of what do you call political correctness took a turn on him. And that is, I mean, that's a big problem too in today's world. I mean, wrestling can't be wrestling. You know what I mean? Like there has been borderline gimmicks that have really pushed the boundaries of what reality and what should be allowed on TV and shouldn't be. I mean, do you guys, it's not Mustafa Ali, but do you guys remember maybe the mid-2000s? They had a manager that was going on rants about like the Muslim religion and how he really,
of course.
I forget, the name escapes me, but they could never get away with that today, ever.
Ric Flair, he had guys with hoods come out and carry off the Undertaker, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
their heads like terrorists.
So exactly. That's how they build them up as like a terrorist. They can't do a lot of the risky stuff, but I still think that there's room for some of these guys to go out on a limb and like try to make your own character. You know what I mean? Like AJ Styles doesn't have to do, and the only reason I'm saying is because I see the autograph I have right here. But He doesn't have to take any risks. You know who he is. Tremendous athlete, one of the best wrestlers of all time. In ring, probably top 5 ever in everybody's list. If you really look at body of work, just in the ring, like him, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, like this guy's.
Wait, who do we just say is in the top 5?
AJ Styles.
Okay.
If you look at his body of work, I mean, across any company, he's in ring. I'm not saying encompassing money and all that stuff, which is a huge part of it, but he doesn't have to take a risk. But guys like Kevin Owens should, Seth Rollins should, because he becomes stale. Roman Reigns doesn't need to. I think he's doing his best work. I don't like him, but I think right now he's probably doing the best work of his career.
That is.
But I think everybody's just afraid to do something, like you guys are saying, like PC culture can catch up to them, but there's got to be some kind of give where they can stand out a lot more than what they're doing. Like that kid, who's the NXT champ? It's Rick Steiner's kid.
Braun Breaker.
That's Rick Steiner's kid, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like a monster. Like I have no intentions of watching him at all. Like, and he could be very good, but he just looks boring.
So here's the thing: he is kind of boring, and then who is the champ right before him?
Tommaso Champa. He won it back.
All right. So who else am I thinking is stuck in NXT that's just boring as all hell? But no, you know what you're gonna get with him. Like he's already there. He's packaged.
And I think you said it before too. Is there wasn't a lot of backstory or history with Braun. He kind of came on when they revamped it. Was on a couple weeks and then
with colorful clothes.
Yeah, and then less than a month into him being on television, he was NXT champion. I mean, you didn't. That's all you know about him is he was just heir apparent.
Here's my rant then. They let that guy pretend to be Italian and mock Italians.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even do it right. The worst part is he's making the crowd angry, but in a weird way. This guy, he doesn't get it. Him doing this all the time, the way he's doing it, he's doing this as if he's like happy. I'm completely Italian, and I'm an old Italian. I never had my dad ever go like this, happy. It was always like, what the is your problem? It was followed by, why are you an idiot? Like, you know what I mean? Like, heart-to-heart conversations we would have. Like, why are you so dumb? Like, what is your problem? It never like this. So his whole character is like a slap in the face. The problem is, as Italians, we don't get offended. So it doesn't matter to us. You can do whatever you want. We got all the Rockies and the mobster movies, so can't really touch us. Go ahead, make fun. I don't like him. So, all right, let me, as I digress, let's just get back to this. Then they threw, now, why did they call this a Dana Brooke and Reggie? So right there, right there. I'm Dana Brooke and that symbol and Reggie. That's 4. I'm out. 4 words in, I'm out. I'm not even gonna wait to see who they're fighting, what kind of match it is, if it's on fire. You know what I mean? Seriously, that match could have been like in the ocean. I would have not watched it. The minute I heard that Reggie and her, and then they fought
Tamina and Akira Tozawa.
And oh my god,
Tozawa.
Dude. Tell me why you have that match.
It's filler. They're trying to keep the 24/7 championship on TV, and I will give them this, because there's a feud over the 24/7 championship. Reggie wants it, Dana wants it, Tamina wants it, Tozawa wants it. Tamina and Tozawa have kind of been conspiring together against Reggie and Dana, who have been flipping it back and forth because they're supposedly Reggie loves Dana doesn't reciprocate feel. It's like a whole thing. They're trying to make a story with it, and I don't say this often. I give them credit for what they're trying to do. I don't like it. I don't care. I don't care about the 24/7 championship or that program, but at least they have a story that is being consistently placed on TV throughout the shows. I'm not saying it's great, but at least it is cohesive because they don't often do cohesive stories anymore.
Brendan, when Tamina grabbed Tozawa's face and kissed him like that, did the guy in you think for a second, like, I don't know if I could deal. I don't know if I could take. You know, like I thought, I don't know if I could handle Tamina. Like she's a big girl, she's strong. Like she might try to throw me around. Like she
So
gets
I'm gonna
him
be
very
honest.
strong.
What happened there? So most of the time when women's wrestling comes on, I usually change it, take a piss break, go get a drink, go have a smoke. It's not entertaining to me. Very few female wrestlers are entertaining to me. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte. Most of the time I enjoy watching Sasha Banks. I don't like that new girl who's with the hair, Bianca. I find her like not entertaining at all. I hate the stupid hair thing. I can't wait till they cut it off, which will inevitably happen because it's wrestling. But Tamina, I don't even know how she has a job. I don't get it. Like Natty, I understand why Natty has a job because she's from the Hart family. The Hart family was great with Vince. They, you know what I mean? They took care of each other. It was what it was. Tamina is the daughter of a murderer and not any good in the ring. Very boring on the mic. I don't see the appeal. I don't.
All right, so
but they
out,
carry
right?
people like this too, and I don't understand why they do that and then cut some other people that they could work with.
But I'll
like
tell you why. I'll tell you why because you just said it yourself. So. Speaking as isn't it still alleged murder? Don't we have to still technically say alleged? Was he never? He was never tried, right?
I think that's right.
Right?
Yeah, he was never found guilty, but
alleged. So he's an alleged murderer. And he was. So now my brother Ray, who was born in the late '60s, you could not say anything wrong about Jimmy Snuka for like people think it was Andre the Giant. That was the big deal. But there was like a 5-year block where everybody talked about Jimmy Snuka. That was it. That's all you heard. Him against Morocco when Piper hit him. Like it was Snuka. And that thing in Madison Square Garden was so big, as dumb as it looks now to what you think it was so big that everybody, yes, kids, we went nuts. So on top of that, he probably did murder someone. And if he did, who do you think helped cover that up? The same company that gainfully employs Tamina. So you don't have to think any further why she's going to be there forever. She'll always be enhancement in talent until she can't go anymore. Like Natalia.
Was he with them in '83?
Part of the Hart family.
Was Snuka with the WWE in '83? Because that's where I think that's when it first started. Was the murder trial?
That I read
because they tried him a couple times and then they found him incompetent. And then he died.
When this went down the first time, from what I remember seeing in the biography, he was still in contact. Like, in other words, you got to hide a body. You call certain people. You know what I mean? I'm not, not in those exact words. I guess maybe it was the wrong words to use, but you know what I mean by that. You know your friend that has the Lyme. Like there's a thing like that. Like I know certain friends, they have the Lyme, the pour over, we're good. So that's why she's there. But like that's a dumb match. Didn't want to see it. No thanks. Now again, here comes out 2 tag teams that I could care less about. The Hurt Business, which is again, they've been knocked down to the point where it's like, whatever, man. And then the Mysterios. And you know what? Stop giving Dominic Mysterio a microphone. Please.
Stop giving them an avenue to wrestle. Rey Mysterio hasn't been good since '97. Dominic's trash too.
Joe, what did you think about that one?
I mean, I'm not like a diehard Mysterio fan. I don't love Dominic. I think Rey's been better. Like early 2000s, I think Rey did a lot of really good work in the WWE. I'm not going to go that far. But the Hurt Business won this match. I mean, they got something out of it. I thought that was the most interesting part is the Hurt Business went over the Mysterios here. So.
Who's Dominic Mysterio?
Rey's kid.
Exactly. But what do I need to know about him? Like he's on the microphone.
Guerrero's son.
Why do I want to hear him talk?
I think ultimately what's gonna happen is Rey's gonna retire. Dominic's gonna don the mask and just go he's gonna be Mysterio. Like that's just he's gonna be one name with Rey's mask. No, I think he's gonna be called Mysterio. Like that's going to be his wrestling name, Mysterio.
The eventual payoff is that he retires Ray, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Like that would be the payoff.
He's going to retire Ray. He'll retire Ray and then don Ray's mask and continue the legacy of Mysterio. Something like that. Like it's probably going to be like that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's
how they look like they're starting to split them apart already with
and
the dysfunction and stuff.
You know he's being put on TV so much and pushed. I don't want to say pushed
on the cover of the game.
Exactly. Which was probably also in his contract because they paid him a lot of money to come back.
Here's the thing. So the Miz came out. Now, look, sometimes
this was weird.
I've had maybe a couple experiences where I enjoyed the Miz. Like when the Miz got mad at Daniel Bryan for real. Like that was
great.
I thought that was actually good. You know what I mean? Like you got to like back him up.
So I saw you talking about this last week too, and I'll get into it. But yeah, I enjoy your Miz take, but I mean I like the Miz a lot.
But on this Raw episode, it was awkward. It just was repetitive. Here's the thing. I feel like they said to the Miz, "We're running short. Go kill time." Because that's what that seemed like, dude. And he didn't do it well. He didn't freestyle very well. He wasn't a very good improv guy because he sounded like he was going back to the same material. And it was just like, what? At one point, it was really like, what's going on? That's what I'm thinking. I was watching, like, all right, so what's going on now? Like, why is
what did he go out and talk about?
His career, basically. He just laid out like how successful he's been and all the things he's done. It was weird. It was super long-winded, and every sentence he started, you're like, how is that not the end?
He kept saying that stupid internet kid was going to be like one of the greatest wrestlers to ever wrestle at WrestleMania. He kept going on and on and on about that. I'm like,
Logan.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I actually like that get for WWE. It makes sense. Logan Paul.
It's big for the brand. It's going to put a lot of eyes on the product that they normally wouldn't get.
Well, it's big for their new YouTube that they're trying to launch with the Carmella and Corey and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pauls are like YouTube.
Yeah,
they're like the biggest act on YouTube, so it makes sense.
But here's the thing about those two guys. Logan is the older one, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the other one's name is what?
Jake.
All right, so Jake's the smartest one because he's the one that always puts himself up against fighters that he has a chance to beat. Whereas Logan actually said he wanted to fight Tyson, which even at 52 is absolutely going to be an impossibility. Like I've said before, and I'll say it one more time. If Mayweather hits you and your knees buckle, oh my God, wait till Iron Mike gets to tap you with a good one. Go ahead, Brendan.
So it doesn't matter if they win or lose. It matters if Jake does because that's the brand that he's built. But Logan's literally just trying to make money and self-promote, and that's what he's done. And he's been extremely successful. I mean, I saw a video the other day. They were talking about it, like him and Jake were going back and forth, and Jake's like, "I think it's been my year. I think I finally overtook you in importance." He goes, "I fought Floyd Mayweather." But what else do you need to know? One of the greatest boxers of all time. You had an exhibition and you went the distance with him.
Yeah, Mayweather held
pounds
back.
More. You weighed
he absolutely
50 pounds more than him, and you hugged them the whole time.
Right.
Get out of here with that match.
Doesn't matter. He made money.
Here's my thing with him. Here's my hopes, and I don't wish ill on anybody, but I'm gonna wish ill right here. I want to see him try to go perform some sort of Hot Bunny or whatever that guy's name is. Trying to perform some kind of weird move and then just blow out a knee just for the sake of it. Just kind of like I root against opposing quarterbacks during games to blow out a knee, just to have something happen. It would be historic, history making. Just blow out your knee. Make it when they bend in backwards the wrong way. That moment of they keep showing it. Yeah. It'll be a WrestleMania moment forever, but it'll be one he does not really like because of his knee.
So I saw you guys talking about this last week, and I get annoyed with the Pauls too. But this is what WWE does. WrestleMania, they try to mix pop culture in with their own culture. it creates something larger than life that everybody can enjoy and everybody knows somebody. Like there's a little kid that's going to be sitting with his dad and his dad's friends that's going to have no idea who any of these wrestlers are. As soon as he sees Logan Paul, he's going to know who Logan Paul is. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute, stop. A dad sitting on the side watching wrestling with his kids. The dad's not going to know any of the wrestlers, but
no. The kid won't know any of the wrestlers, but he'll know.
Oh, all right. They meant the
that's
dad.
That's why you bring in a Logan Paul up.
So I think
but then again, they brought in Liberace. They brought in a bunch of bombs. I can't think of one person they really brought in that I've liked other than Lawrence Taylor.
I thought the Floyd Mayweather thing was entertaining.
I thought Bad Bunny was entertaining when he wrestled last year because of the actual effort he put into being able to wrestle.
So if it was a name that I think people realized, he would get a lot more credit. But because he was,
he's bigger than
the Spanish music.
He's bigger than people than like us, wrestling fans, like us white guys who watch wrestling knew.
Right, but if it was like a mainstream rap artist like that, like an Eminem or something. No, I'm not saying Eminem, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't know. That'd be a huge pop.
I think he hits a Canadian Destroyer better than some actual wrestlers do. I mean, it's good.
Joe,
he did a very good job.
Yeah.
Joe, he looks like he looks like like all right. So when I was in high school, I was really thin. And I knew somebody else that was really thin, but this motherfucker, he would wear clothes under his clothes. You know those kind of kids where they would wear layers to make themselves look bigger, and I always be like,
I never had that
aren't you sweating? Aren't you feeling really? Doesn't it rot? Like Bad Bunny or whatever we want to call him, he looks like he's wearing like a jumpsuit and then some clothes and then some clothes. And then he looks like he goes $170.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a big dude. I mean, he's
my point is, with all those flips and all that stuff, I still keep saying, why don't they go back to the fact that somebody, even of like Bobby Roode's size, should just catch him out of midair, smash him into the ground, and then like Beetle Bailey just leave his body there. Give me that reality. Don't give me a reality where Bad Bunny can come in and do a flip wearing too much clothes, like Joey and Friends.
Yeah.
And then just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care that he can do flips.
Suspension of disbelief.
But I don't care that he learned these tricks.
I mean, that's what happened to him.
Punch him in the face and just get this over with.
That's basically what happened to him at the Rumble. I mean, I forget who it was, but somebody literally did pick him up and evacuated him in a less than polite manner from the ring.
Was it Brock?
I can't remember if it was Brock, but it was somebody bigger. It's gonna bother me too. I don't think it was Brock because I don't think they would have let Brock toss Bad Bunny because he's not but it might have been.
Why you think Brock Lesnar's big in the Spanish music?
No, I just think Brock would probably hurt him.
Yeah, they were afraid that he's gonna get hurt before it tore. So.
Yeah, I think Brock could have hurt him. I mean, I'm surprised Austin Theory didn't get injured being thrown off the top of that pod at Elimination Chamber. They called it an F5 off the top of the chamber, but like it was like Lesnar just
well, he also landed on his feet.
That's true too. It's like
he use better camera angles. You know what I mean? I don't care that he lands safely. Just use better angles. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, he lands on his feet. They're like, oh my god.
Did you guys hear though the stay down kid?
No.
The theory. The audio that you picked up, like he started to get up at one point.
Oh yeah, remember? He told him to stay down,
and he got back. He almost kind of got back down and rolled. Remember I told you he did that odd roll at one point. Like he wasn't really hurt, but what are you doing? I guess you're trying to pretend that you're hurt now because he had to get out of the ring, get out of what Brock was about to do, and then Brock jumped the gun, came out of the pod too fast. But you know what? Brock Lesnar could come out and take a dump in the middle of the ring. And there ain't nothing Vince can do right now.
I'd buy a ticket to watch it.
Yep.
He could say, you know what? Vince can't touch me. You want to know how I can prove this? Next Monday Night Raw, Brock Lesnar takes a dump, middle of the ring. That's a sin. And, you have Paul Heyman there, everything. And
he
just
basically did.
Brock is the biggest draw they've had in some time.
I mean, probably. What was it, a couple years ago with cameras on him, he walks back into Gorilla and just flings a gold heavy belt into Vince's face and just walks out. And all Vince could do is call him an asshole, and that was it. He could do whatever he wants in that business, and it's why he's still the WWE champion.
The most believable guy they have.
Yeah. He could literally kill everybody on that roster.
My favorite thing about Brock is Heath Slater was saying how usually when a guy does his finisher, you got to kind of jump with it, to make it happen. He's like, Brock takes care of all that. he literally lifts you off the ground, puts you on his shoulders, and physically flings you. Like he goes, the first time that he hit him with it, he tried to jump into it and almost went over like an I guess like a Cena move, because Brock's gonna fling you.
Yeah.
How big you are. Well,
Especially
don't worry
if he
about
needs
it.
later.
He'll take care of it. Don't jump. He's gonna throw you. All right. To finish out that show, we had the Street Profits defeat RK Bro via pinfall.
This had a weird ending. I'm waiting to hear if Orton is actually injured or not.
They made it seem like he is.
Yeah, nobody's come out and really said if it was like kayfabe or if he actually caught the knees kind of wrong to the shoulder. The ending was clearly botched with D'Angelo Dawkins, whatever, trying to push the feet off the ropes. It was just weird. It was like a really weird ending. People in the crowd said it just ended very abruptly for how much things were going on too. Because it was a good match. I know you don't like the Street Profits, and we've seen that match a million times, but they're all four of them great wrestlers, and it was just a great match. The ending was weird. I think something's up with Orton, or it could be kayfabe, and then he's gonna abandon Riddle at WrestleMania or something like that. I mean, who knows? But that split's coming too. Riddle's is gonna get a huge push.
Don't do it like that. Don't do it like that though. That's not that. There's no thought process in that. Like. Not on an injury like that.
Well, the story,
not to the Street Profits. What another horrible regurgitation that is.
Well, how the story looks like it's going to go is that they've been playing it where like Randy always just seems to not be there for Riddle when Riddle needs him most, and so the rumor, the thought process is that eventually that's going to boil over where like Riddle's going to get his ass beat because Randy was just nowhere to be found, even though Riddle's always there for Randy, and he's one day just going to be like, Randy, what the hell, man? And he's going to snap and go into that psycho, like, I'm an MMA fighter mode, and he's going to go over Randy.
So I do like how they're building that side of Riddle up, though.
Mm-hmm.
Make him a legit guy, because obviously we know he's like a big goofball stoner kind of dude. You know what I mean? We all see his social medias and stuff.
Stony McBlaze.
But, I mean, he's a legit badass.
Yeah.
Like, the dude can get in the ring and probably go toe-to-toe with almost anybody in WWE.
He's the only person, he's one of the only people in WWE who could actually probably fight Brock Lesnar and give him like an actual fight.
So you'd believe it if he landed a shot. You know what I mean?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Get the out of here. Are you kidding me? He'd get swallowed. He'd be just ran at and grabbed. It would be like a kitten got in the gorilla cage. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Suspension of disbelief.
I stand by that.
You just said that they keep showing how Randy's never there for him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you just said that Randy Orton may have a knee injury.
Shoulder.
Right? Shoulder injury, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you go into WrestleMania, the biggest stage there is, and Riddle's in a 2-on-1, if Randy makes the hero pop at the right moment, does that not complete that story also?
You mean like him by making the heroic save?
There it is.
I guess it ties it in a different way. Like if you're going to keep them together,
you're going to make him hurt for a while. You're going to make him out. So why not build it that way? Bring him back as the hero. Pop it.
Why wouldn't you have Randy come back, save Riddle, and then have Riddle turn on Randy?
Oh, you could do that too. Too little, too late. Yeah.
You could double swerve it.
Yeah.
Never mind that. But you got to bring Randy back with a pop because you never thought he'd make that save. And there he is, dude. At the moment that matters most, WrestleMania comes out, saves Riddle.
So what's you guys' thoughts? I know I don't want to get too off topic, but on Randy Orton, I'm a huge Randy Orton guy, like from day one. I think when he's done, he should be considered, if you look at his body of work, as one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah,
I agree. Too. Like he makes everything look so effortless. And in a time where it's very difficult to pretty much get anything over, he was the best heel for the longest time. And he did a lot with very little in the PG era. Like he was able to kind of push the limits of the PG boundaries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my thought. I'm a huge Randy Orton guy. Like huge.
So I love Randy Orton. I just love the whole thing. My only issue with Randy Orton would be the speed of his matches, the cadence, how it's slow. Like he just everything. And sometimes, if depending on where he's put on the card, you don't want to sit through a slow plotting type match.
It's an old school wrestling match.
Yeah, he does all old moves, but like I'm saying, like you got to put him with the right people at the right. It's
I
like
love his power
every match
slam.
he does is great. My problem is, like I said, sometimes if you put him with like the wrong opponent, it could just be, I don't know, a little bit dull and drawn out. You know what I'm trying to say? Because he's not going to do anything like fancy. That's not what he does. He's not fancy at all.
Yeah, he's not super flashy, but I think that's kind of been his thing.
Yeah.
You know, his flashiest move is when the camera's not on him, and then all of a sudden he's just planting some dude's face right into the mat.
That's why you give him something flashy to fight. But so it ended with the Edge. Did it end with the Edge and the AJ Styles thing?
No, don't you dare deny me this. How dare you? I have been whining and crying about how Finn Balor has been getting the just absolutely cast to the side.
I just forgot of myself.
And underutilized and made honestly to look weak. Not counting his run in NXT. He carried NXT during COVID, but he came back and still didn't get anything. I'm praying, I'm hoping that he doesn't lose the United States Championship at the Madison Square Garden show on Saturday, because I could see them turning Damian Priest heel and then making Priest like this unbeatable heel. However, not getting that thought out of my head. I said last week that they need to elevate the United States Championship on Raw because the WWE Championship is not going to be on Raw going into WrestleMania. And I'm so ecstatic that potentially it could be Finn Balor who's carrying the highest title on Raw into WrestleMania. He is, and you could say, just like Cena, he's got 1, 2, 3 moves that he does all the time. I get it. He's not the flashiest guy, but the crowd's always been behind him. He has one of the best gimmicks in WWE since I love the demon gimmick. I love that they don't use it as much. And they thought so highly of him at one point. He was the first Universal Champion. They made that belt for Finn Balor. And since that injury, he hasn't gotten anything. So I love that they put the belt on him and nobody saw it coming. And I'm hoping he's the guy that's going to lead this brand into WrestleMania with the highest belt available on Raw.
I think that injuries have derailed their plans for Balor. Like on so many occasions. I mean, he was the first ever Universal Champ, got hurt that night.
Yeah.
Became the Intercontinental Champ, got hurt again.
Yep.
I love the whole demon thing. I wish that they would give him, I don't know if you guys watched him in New Japan at all.
Yeah.
So I watched when that was like the Bullet Club was starting, and like really he was obviously
one of the founders,
one of the founders of it. But he would change up the outfits depending on where he was. Like
he did his Joker. He did the Joker gimmick at one point, and
did the Jack the Ripper one.
Yep.
So like, I would love if they would just let him kind of have a little bit of freedom instead of doing the same demon all the time. But it is a cool gimmick. It is pretty cool.
They did let him do the Jack the Ripper themed demon at one point, but yeah, it is kind of the same thing because they need to sell merchandise, so they don't want it to be too. Right. They don't want to deviate too much.
So Joe, you just did that whole thing, that diatribe on Finn Balor, and you're celebrating him winning the United States Championship.
Yep.
Okay,
that's what I've been reduced to.
All right,
but you have to understand
that belt sometimes disappears for months, and we don't even know where it goes. Let me tell you something. The guy who had it before him, like that Damian Priest, I told you, there's nothing about him that I liked. There was nothing. I don't know what the hell people liked about him. I'm going, what are you liking about him?
The heel turn's the best thing he's done.
The heel turn had to be because he's unlikable. Some people are just straight up unlikable, and you need to know. Look, I know how I am, so I know who I am. So if I know, I can tell people sometimes I'm unlikable. But Damian Priest acted like he wasn't unlikable. And it's like, we all don't like you. So they had to turn him heel.
So, all all right, you're not wrong. They had to do something with his gimmick, but all I'm saying is I'm not trying to sound like I'm excited, like, oh yeah, it's just the United States Championship. You have to realize that because they split the titles and Raw has the WWE Championship, that championship belt is now going to be shown exclusively on SmackDown. So going into the biggest show of the year, there is only one singles title on Raw, which now has to be a high profile storyline.
Has to be.
Because
Has
what
to
else?
be. Should
you
be.
don't
Should
have
be.
you don't have anything else. So that's why I'm excited, because of all the people that they could have given that to ride into WrestleMania as the only Raw singles champion. The fact that it's Finn Balor, I thought I think I might have said it last week that I thought he might win, but I was so happy to see that they actually put the belt on him.
All right.
He looks good with the championship, man. He looks good carrying a belt.
You made a really good point, though, with them unifying the titles, and I would assume that this is where Brock takes the title. Like, I would assume that they have to get that title off of Roman. It's been too long. Brock's the one believable guy. Then you can go a different route with him. It's time, man. It's time. You got to do it.
No, you can't. You can't have Brock go over. You can't.
Who else would you have do it? You don't have
Brock. So Brock is already a commodity that you could draw at any time. He doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need pants, right?
Neither does Roman right now.
Roman needs to beat Brock and unify the belts and come out as the tribal chief with the two belts and everybody around him. That's what needs to happen. As much as I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, if you want to build a storyline, just like when Brock went over the Undertaker, just to get that extra push of how great he is now, get Roman that extra rub, get him a little bit higher. The only one that could get bigger from this is Roman Reigns. So why not do that?
Because you need to get out of jail card for Roman. It's already I think it's going on longer than they expected. I really do think, and I bought into the fact that they were trying to get The Rock to do the Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble and all that stuff.
So did I.
They couldn't do it. And if you keep the title on Roman past Brock, then you're going to have to fade Brock out of that main event storyline, because you can't keep doing the same exact, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work.
Well, you can, but you got McIntyre in the waiting. You got
but we've seen McIntyre with the title for a while too.
So I think
waiting.
The big rumors, what I think is happening is I think Roman's going over Brock because they're going to push, like, Roman's the top. Roman is the best wrestler in the WWE.
I wouldn't let him lose for another year. I'm being honest. You want to draw attention to wrestling, though? Do something like that.
I think 2022. I think Drew and it's going to be the first time that you're going to see a rivalry like The Rock and Stone Cold, where I think as long as Drew can hack it, it's going to be the Drew and Roman all year, and that's going to be the big, like, Rock and Stone Cold kind of thing. Like, Drew is going to be built to be an equal to Roman Reigns, and he's going to be the next top star. And I think Brock will probably go play on the farm for a little while.
I think the problem with that, though, is that wrestling fans just not interested in it. They're not interested in Drew. They gave him the title, and he was the title holder in an extremely tough time. That pandemic was rough for these guys. You know what I mean? Like, and he was in with the empty arenas before they did the whole fan cams and all that stuff.
Drew got screwed. Drew was the champ when no one was watching, and he had to act in front of nobody.
Yeah.
And then they gave him a friggin' sword, and his career went down the tubes. Like everybody else, they give him something to hold. Here, hold the sword. Yeah. Why? We want to ruin your career. Thank you. Done. Sorry.
But that's why I think I can see them taking it off Roman. And it's not because it's best for the storyline, but just because this is the only out you're going to have for a long time, unless you can somehow pull the Rock or pull, because that would be the only thing is the whole family aspect. I'm the head of the table, the real head of the table, as we know for that family is the Rock. Where else would you go with it?
All right, so 2 words to describe what they need to do with him is Bruno Sammartino. Bruno held the belt for so long, and people would go to see if he was going to win or lose. Now, if you keep the belt on Roman, you bring in the Usos' younger brother up from NXT. He joins the Tribe. Tribe gets bigger. He's got the double belts. If you can hold on to that for an obnoxious amount of time, how he keeps winning, keeps beating people, I'm telling you, we want to do something different, why not invest in a wrestler for a long time, a couple years, and let's build some shit? Because he could build to the point where, like, is he the best of all time? Like, people start talking about, is he? Because when people start talking about it, like on ESPN, if you can get people to talk about that, his reign has been this long, he's done this, all this stuff. They could fake that stuff.
And his last name is Reigns. Oh my God.
No, just get it going. Build something. Like, if you're going to invest, I say invest long term.
I agree that they probably should do that more often than they do, than change the titles every couple months or every month like they do. I don't think that an even longer. I mean, he's already had it for 550 days,
yeah,
560 days. People get bored. It's a different world with social media and the amount of content that the WWE has to put out on a daily basis. It's not like Bruno Sammartino, where maybe you got 1 or 2 televised dates every 2-3 months, and you had like house shows where you sold tickets. It's this guy's on TV all the time. He's on TV multiple times a night. He's doing the same shtick. He hasn't really grown that, and I get that's why they put Paul Heyman with him, because Paul Heyman on the mic, I'll buy whatever he sells. But I think that wrestling fans today are very, very finicky, and I mean, even other companies like AEW had that problem with their champions too. People so
you want to make the wrestling fans happy? Because here's the thing: if I piss the wrestling fans off, they're gonna watch whether they say they are or not. They're going to not say they're not going to watch, but they're really going to tune in if I piss them off enough. And let me tell you this, the WWE can give a shit about who watches the show right now, because they get paid by 3 Saudi shows, 2 contract TV deals. They don't care what the ratings really are sometimes. That's why it's so hodgepodge at the last second.
They do at Mania.
What kind of TV show gets made at the last second? So, like, but at Mania, like, you got to keep him, dude. It would be such a great thing to have him go over Brock, have him beat Lashley, but like start to do it. Like I said, bring more people into the tribe, make it and then book The Rock. Like,
well, Lashley's out for like 4 months.
Yeah, when he comes back though, he'll be a body to throw at him. You got to throw the big guys at him.
Yeah, but those guys that goes back to what I was saying before. None of these guys are really interesting. Like, I don't give a shit about Bobby Lashley. I don't think he's entertaining. You know what I mean? MVP is the best thing about him. Bobby Lashley is the same guy as when he left. He had a good run in TNA. He was interesting. They're doing the same thing that he did in TNA.
So then grab the smaller guys, have Roman have matches with them, and have it where they look like they're really good wrestlers, but Roman eventually just squashes the shit out of them and walks away with 2 belts. You want to showcase everybody?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's not a bad idea. I just don't see them going that route. I think that they're already getting stale with it because they don't push the limits, and Roman won't ever push the limit past what he should. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same old shtick every week. They don't show me respect. Show me this. Oh, I'm the best. I'm the head. And then end of the match, he has his brothers or his cousins do this or that, or Paul Heyman gets involved, or somehow he gets screwed, or he chokes. Thank God he choked out Bill Goldberg, because Bill Goldberg shouldn't be in a ring. But
he needs to start to get offended by everyone. That's where that character needs to go. He needs to get falsely offended. Like, in other words,
he did on Friday.
But constantly, though. But like walking around, just show him backstage, walking by a guy. What did you just say? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, acknowledge and like take him to that dick level. That's what I'm hoping. And if they worked it well, it would have only made sense that you gave him an eventual court jester. Right? The wild card, which is exactly who Seth Rollins is portraying. So you could have put Seth in that family as like the confidant or the or just the other guy. What's the name of the consigliere?
Consigliere. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like another guy other than Paul Heyman.
Oh, what was Tom Ward? What was his name? Yeah.
But like, a wild card. Like Rollins could be that guy for
Tom Hague. That's what it was. I think it was Hague.
And he could add to the story. Like Rollins could get them in trouble from his mouth. There's so much. You just could evolve that character and keep the belt on him, because you know what, dude? I'll be honest. There's not a lot of guys that I would want to see with the belt on right now, like that I believe. And they built him so far that I think they need to, because they made him beat Undertaker at WrestleMania after Brock beat him at WrestleMania, kind of like dampened it. So it's like, You got to put this guy over officially, finally, whatever. And I would ride that thing the whole time until people hated him.
So you want to know? I'm sorry. I just want to say, I think the biggest tell about why they're not going to give why Brock's not going over at WrestleMania is they're already coming out and saying they're unifying the belts. That means that champion is going to have to be on Raw and SmackDown. Brock is not going to be on both shows constantly.
You won't do it.
There's a reason why they have all those other mid-card titles too, and that they're going to try to build them up. You don't need a guy like Brock is one of those rare attractions. You know what I mean? You don't need him every week. You're not going to get him every week either. Now it'll be, all right, this week on SmackDown or next week on Raw or in 2 weeks on Raw or SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to see him every week. That's what would make that title special. You don't see it every week. You don't see the same thing over and over and over.
I like
but
to
here's
see
the thing.
the WWE Championship on TV all the time.
I want the champ to be in the house.
Yeah.
There's something about the fact that champ's in the house watching everything that goes down is a different type of champ, right? He's not like there when he wants to be. Roman's watching like Conan. Like he's like sitting there on a throne watching everything that goes on. That's what I would want him to be like. To me, that's how you gotta play him out, right? You gotta play him differently than that. But like
imagine him having a table on the entrance, like right off to the side, and he's just sitting at the end of the table with the championship in front of him. He's got the family lining the table, and he's just there for every match. That's where he sits. He just sits at that table, and he watches everyone walk down.
I get sick of watching. I get sick of seeing him. I don't want to see him the whole time, but I would get sick of seeing his head.
Or he gets an office. I don't know. You could do something like that. He gets an office with a table. Like, yeah.
You think he's ever met? You think he's ever met the guy that plays Aquaman? Like, do you think the two guys, those two people, ever shook hands?
It's possible. I mean, those types of families and like tribes are actually very close.
No. But just those two guys. Does a photo exist where there's two of them?
Probably.
I haven't seen the photo, but I'm sure they have that.
So then I can say, because I'm ignorant and I have no proof, that they could be one and the same, and we just don't know.
Yeah, Roman Reigns is Jason Momoa.
They look. I mean, come on. Right?
They do look similar.
All right. So on our wrap up, we're gonna go around the table. Tell me what you want to say for wrap up. Joe, go first.
I got nothing, man. I'm quite happy. Raw had some direction. The middle part of Raw sucked. It usually does. That's how even the best shows have some mid card fodder that you don't want to watch. But I think it ended strong. It began strong. It ended strong. You saw a really nice title change. We're seeing. I'm sure. New guy Brendan can probably attest. He's probably super excited to see Edge and AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I'm a big fan of AJ Styles myself as well.
Me too.
So I think that's gonna be a great match as long as Edge can hang. Because Edge is kind of old, but
he rested up with the Miz. He rested up with that whole Miz thing that we've been talking about.
Well, they won't touch each other. Yeah, they won't touch each other until WrestleMania.
I think they botched the Edge return.
Somewhat. So, Brendan, to you, as you wrap up, also a question for you. What do you think with Cody Rhodes? Where does he appear?
AW. He's not going anywhere. He won't go anywhere. I think it's all work. At first, I was like, I really did think it was real, but the more I look at it, and it's just, he's getting a lot of attention right now, and it'll help the product. Their next pay-per-view is Revolution, I believe. Yeah, I think that's coming up soon. And they actually just dropped. I just got a text message. The big news that Tony Khan was talking about was that he bought Ring of Honor.
Oh, I heard that it was sold.
So more importantly than just buying Ring of Honor is he bought their library.
Yeah. Wow.
And that they're looking for a streaming deal. And from what I heard is they're close to HBO.
Huh.
If I were them, I would just try to go solo, but then again, another TV deal, getting more money coming in like that instead of worrying about.
Wow.
Are the Briscoe brothers still around?
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about the guys from Ring of Honor? Yeah, they're actually doing a show in Webster, Mass in a couple days.
So
scary looking guys.
Oh yeah,
good tag.
They're facing the Hardys, aren't they?
Yeah.
But scary looking.
So real quick, you think Ring of Honor is still going to be Ring of Honor now that AEW owns that? Because I actually just saw the Bleacher Report thing too. That's actually because they're supposed to have a pay-per-view coming April 1st.
I think it's going to turn into maybe like an NXT where they sign these guys and It's just
They have
another
a whole
avenue.
different show.
Right. And then just another avenue for them to build guys up and have another show that's a little different than Dynamite.
God, can you imagine if Ring of Honor, AEW, and Impact are all playing together and these guys are all kind of going in and out of different shows, and you've got WWE who's just kind of like, we're better than everybody. And it gets really hard to sit there and say WWE's better.
Impact has a surprising amount of really, really good talented wrestlers right now. It's not as good as it was back in the day when they had Joe and AJ Styles and the Dudleys and all those guys, but it's a very good roster, pretty young too. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they play out. I do like that relationship that they work with. AEW. I'm a big AEW guy, so I'm just a big wrestling guy. Well, I think WWE, just to wrap up, I don't think they're building. I think this is the problem: is that Mania has become its own attraction, and they don't feel the need to build these matches as much as they used to. You know what I mean? Like, they don't push them like this is the Mania moment, and like all year you lead up to this, and then now I feel like they rush things and they don't make it as special as it could be. Like, who didn't want to see Brett versus Owen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who didn't want to see like Hogan and The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Austin and Hogan. Like, I mean, not Austin. Well, people want to see that too, but I mean, Austin and The Rock. Like, even the mid-card stuff meant something. Like William Regal versus Chris Jericho. That was built forever, and it was given to us. Like, they used to have really good matches that built up over probably 4 to 6 months at the very least, and it culminated at WrestleMania. They don't do it anymore because they feel that WrestleMania is the product, and it's no matter what they throw out there, they're going to be all right. You know, because it's a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 friggin' days. And they actually had the balls to have Gronk host it one time. they could just, you know what I mean? Like, you want to turn a whole country off. Jeez, Louise.
How do you guys feel about the 2 days thing?
I hate it.
It shouldn't be 2 days. There's nothing.
How 4 hours.
Go 4 hours. Don't go 2 days.
How do you have a show that's 2 days and in 2 main card titles and they're not on both shows headline? Like, I don't understand it. It makes no sense. I hate the 2 days.
So I liked it when it was the pandemic because I didn't want to watch 4 hours of nonstop wrestling in front of no fans. So it made sense for them to split it up a little bit.
Yep.
I don't hate the idea of them doing 2 nights, but I think the day before should be something not WrestleMania, and it should be like their pre-show, because they start at it feels like they start at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and they go until 3 in the morning. Like, it's too much. It's too much wrestling, and it's too much bad wrestling.
Guys, Raw is 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
A night. It's in one night.
They have too much wrestling.
They had a good thing going when it was the NXT takeover on Saturday and then WrestleMania on Sunday.
Yeah.
You got to see the future and then you got to see where they could go. And now it's just it's a shithole.
So something that me and my buddies have always talked about, if I was in charge of creative or whatever it is, and this is what you guys do a lot of, right? Is like fantasy booking and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Technically, yeah.
I would separate WrestleMania. If you're stuck on the 2-day thing, that's fine. Day 1, Raw. Day 2, SmackDown, or however you want to play it. Whoever has the most the best ratings throughout the course of the year should get the Sunday, because obviously that's the main event show anyway. But I feel like you could do WrestleMania for SmackDown. You know what I mean? This is SmackDown WrestleMania. Boom. There's your main event. This is Raw WrestleMania. This is your main event. These are your cards. Because other than that, then why are we doing the brand split? What is so special about keeping these 2 rosters separated?
But
when there's no payoff of that.
You just watered down WrestleMania. Like, in other words, you just made WrestleMania blue and red, 2 different shows. Now there's WrestleMania red. It's you're trying to make versions of Coke that nobody's going to drink.
They already have 2 different announce teams.
But they also have the Spanish announce team. They also have the Spanish announce team. My point is,
those guys call every match Raw and SmackDown.
Brand split has never worked, right? But if they want to make it work, I'm with it. WrestleMania itself is the Super Bowl of wrestling. It should be both shows, one freaking night, 3 to 4 hours. Deal with it. Put everybody together. Let's make something happen. That's it. Said it done. I don't know why.
I'm just saying if they did the 2 days, I would love to see them split it. You know what I mean? Just do the 2 brands then. whatever. This was the better WrestleMania. This was not. You know what I mean? These are the better matches. Whatever. There's a lot more talk that you could have. I would love to see what you're saying. 3 or 4 hours, and that's it.
Yeah, you gotta make it still seem like the Showcase of the Immortals. One show.
They try to give
show that everybody wants to get to. Not 2 days, not whatever, just one show that everybody in wrestling is trying to get to.
The problem is they try to allow everybody on TV. They try to give them their WrestleMania moment. Well, guess what? That moment doesn't mean fucking shit to me because it doesn't. I'm sorry, but your WrestleMania moment on the third match on a Saturday, I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, it's because it's not a real WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
it's not special. Make me feel they haven't been able to successfully get wrestling fans to like invest in their storylines, and I think it's partly because of how they build storylines and how quickly they give up or they drag these things on. They drag the wrong ones on, and they fucking dump the ones that we all care about for some godforsaken reason. They're out of touch and they just don't care. Which I wouldn't care too if I get $2 billion coming from Fox and Peacock.
As I wrap it up, let me say this: the problem is that Vince is still stuck with big guys. They haven't pushed a guy that's not a gigantic guy the right way yet. And what thought they would do with like Cody Rhodes, and what they need to do is they need to finally come up with that wrestler that almost like the $1 Million Man. He makes other people do his dirty work for him. He's mentally ahead of every other wrestler. That's what makes him great. He's the mental version to Brock's Braun. Like, you don't have that guy yet who manipulates people, who gets things to happen, whether he's paying them off, whatever he's, spreading rumors, whatever he's doing backstage. He's constantly working backstage to get himself up in the main event. Like, I want that guy. They don't. Where's that guy? Why is everybody beating each other because they're so much bigger? Where's that guy that's a technician that he's ahead of people? He's like planning. He like convinces people to like. He's got bodyguards. You know that kind of guy. Like,
I do enjoy the big wrestlers though, because I feel like those aren't guys that you see every day. You know what I mean? Like Drew McIntyre just don't walk down the streets where I live. You know what I mean? So it's entertaining to see, but I do get what you're saying. And it would be nice to see like a Finn Balor or anybody else, like, you know what I mean? Like, but
Tommaso Champa.
His injuries kind of and his age, you know what I mean, kind of derail them, I think, from getting behind him.
He's got the look. He's got the look though. He's the exact bit of look that would be perfect.
He's got everything. You're right. He's got everything. That dude is super talented. I mean, what? He was like the best heel in NXT for a long time before he hurt his neck. I mean, he came out with no music and everybody like got riled up just to him having no music. Like, genius. Something so subtle is just genius.
That's what I mean.
That's how simple wrestling can be. And they try to do it. They overproduce it. You know what I mean? It's a pretty simple art form. We all watch it. Even the people that say, "Oh, I don't watch it anymore." I mean, they turn it on, but they overproduce it and they overthink it, and it creates a product that nobody really cares about, to be honest. And it sucks because I love wrestling.
See that, Joe? Everybody kind of shares the same sentiment. You know what I mean? They just got to get the ship right. They have all the tools they need. It's like watching somebody build a house and everything's wrong. And you're just like, you got all the lumber and tools you need. Did you not watch even like a YouTube video? Like, what are you doing? Like, that's how bad it gets. All right.
They have arguably the most talent that WWE's ever had right now. If you look at all the guys they have and all the girls they have probably one of the best rosters. I mean, maybe you could talk 96 through 99. But I think this roster is deeper with all the guys they have.
Agreed. Now, we're about a minute away from the radio channel station to flip us over to the next show. So I'm going to wrap it up really quick so I can get that nice tight ending. I got about a minute for Brendan, the new guy, Joey Paranormal. Meet me, Mike Lepre, King Mike Hill. This was World of Legit Fantasy Wrestling, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. We will see you again next Wednesday. Enjoy your night. We are done.